Okay, I think we can start. Hello everyone, welcome to today's session, and so today we're going to continue talking about web development. In addition, we will move this exercise ahead, so let me do it this way. So we'll start with the review of the activities for home task, activity 08, 09 and Extra06, and then we will we'll take a look on some bootstrap options, just some simple features of what we can do using bootstrap framework, just a little bit, and then we will mostly start about this web application topic, and we'll start with HTML forms, because using the forms we can actually use the way how basically two pages can send the data to each other basically, and this can be done using HTML forms, so that we can put the data which will then be sent to a different page using request. But we'll take a look on such forms, and then we'll move to the presentation about web applications. So let's start with activity 09. Basically those who send me activity, I checked it, everything was fine for most of you, maybe some minor mistakes, but I will then send the results a little bit later, so maybe after the next task, which is activity 08, then I'll just share the results with everyone. So okay, let's start, we'll start with activity 09, which was the activity about the collections. So that was this one, and basically this was the workaround on the activities. So, and first we need to implement order clause, which will basically be used as the structure, which stores which represents the corresponding orders. So basically, under the orders we have three attributes, and so then we need to implement just all the methods one by one, which process these attributes. So let's start. So I will close some applications just to reduce the pressure on my computer. Yes, some of you noticed that there are some issues with the microphone. There's some issue with the microphone. That's just my computer is so loud. That's why it's producing such noise here. That's why I will try to decrease the pressure on it, and I will close the applications I will not use right now. So and hopefully that should be fine. Okay, so let's start. We have three attributes which basically represent the order. So what we need to do? We need to go through we need to implement the methods. So first of all, we need to represent. We need to implement comparable interface with order clause. So let's it's comparable, so that will once comparable to order. So that will be the first one, and so then we need to implement compare and here we will everything is correct, and then we will need to compare the two, just basically two orders. But again, since in this case, that's what I said once, for strings and for integers, it makes sense how can we implement with the compare, like for integers, which is simple. For all the numbers, that's simple. So we can compute which number is greater, which is smaller. That's easy. But for the strings as well, that's the same. We just alphabetically compare them and check which is larger, which is smaller. But for this structure, you can see that we have three attributes, and there is no obvious way how we can actually compare them. That's why we will have the rules for it, and so these rules will be are described here. We will go through them a little bit later, but for now we need to implement all the necessary methods. So we start with the constructor. So let me use a simple constructor where we just provide all the parameters there. So that will be the customer, the item, and then the integer count. So this will provide all these details. Just a simple parameterized constructor. So this looks, please be careful here. Count. So this is done, and the next method is that what I said, we need to implement compare to according to the logic we described below. So we go to implementation, so we compare to another order, and basically it shows us the direction how we should compare. So first of all, as you know, to compare, basically that compare to, that's the method which so it means that this is the instance method, so it belongs to the object of order, right? And it means that we code directly from the object. And when we call, let's say this is just one of the order as the object, we call the method compare to from this object, we compare to another object, and then it returns the result, which provides us the information if this order from where this method is called is smaller, greater, or it equals to the object provided here. So that's simple at this point, and then we need to store the result somewhere. Yeah, then we will need to actually check. First of all, as you can see, it has the sequence. Sequence is item name. So first of all, we need to then compare the item names. So since first there will be item name. Yeah. So I have the warning message here. That's why I checked it, and I see that there's no name provided, and the parameter it's item name already. So then it should be. Then first we need to compare the item, and so we have the result, and I will compare the names from the current object to the name from the order, right, to the method. So this is done, and then we need to check. So first of all, if the name is so if the names are not the same, then we can basically return the result, which shows us if so if result is greater, is less than 0, then we return -1, because basically it means that the name of the current object is less than the name of the object provided. Then we return -1. Else if result is greater, then we return of course 1, +1, and else we just return 0. So pretty much simple here, but that's the case when the names are the same. If the names are not the same, if the names are the same, then we need to do additional checks. So it means that if result is 0, it means that the names are the same. Then we need to do additional checks. So then we basically can compare the costs according to the rules. We need to compare the customer name. So it means that we compare the customer name to the customer name from the object. And in this case the rule is the same. If the customer name is not the same, then basically this logic will be executed, which will be correct, because at this point we will have the result we're looking for. And otherwise, if result is 0, which means that the customer names are same, then we need to go to the last point, and that will be count of the items. So what does it mean? It means that if the current object has more counts than the one from the object we are comparing to, then the result will be greater than 0, and then this logic will be executed. Otherwise, this logic will be executed. Or if the count is the same, then we can be sure that two objects are the same. That means that customer name is the same, then the name of the order itself is the same, and the count is also the same. And so that is what we have here, and then we move on to the next method. And So the next method is equals. So in this case it's quite simple. We need to check if two objects are the same. So we can check method equals, and here we can just basically say we can return the result. So first we have object here, but we can actually cast it to order, and we can check the following. If this compared to the object equals 0, then it's true, otherwise it's false. So yeah, of course we cannot override it this way, so we need to do the casting here. Casting, so that will be the order here. And so we have initial rules. Oh no, everything should be fine. Yeah, that's why we can say that. So basically, again, this compared to returns null, not null but 0 only if all the elements are the same. And this is what will be done according to this logic. And here just basically check if this one is 0, then the result is true, otherwise the result is false. And this is what we can basically check here. Okay, then what we have next one is hash code. So that's just the generation of the hash code, which should come from the string of this class. So as you remember, for the strings we have hash codes. So for all the strings in Java we can generate hash code, which should be the identifier, like the hash value for this particular object. Alright, and the last method is toString. toString, which should provide the result in the form item name, order name, and count. So basically it should be done in the following way: the name, then the column, then customer, and then the count. Right, so then everything here to be done. So any questions about this class? Then we'll just basically use the next one. No? Okay. No questions, then we can move to the orders where we will use the collections finally. So this was just the structured class, just meant for structures, and this one is meant to the place where we can actually store the collections. So again, need to follow the rules here. So the first rule is to implement Iterator interface with orders class. So again, as you remember, Iterator is basically the object which can be returned from the collection. And basically all the iterators have their own implementations. Basically they provide the information how we can iterate through the collection. And it's described here, needs to provide the iterator in the implementation of the iterator interface. So, and for the iterator interface, we will actually need to implement the method next and has next. This is basically what we will do, but at this point we have nothing to work with. That's why I need to follow the rules here. So first of all, needs to add the attributes. The attributes will be the list of the orders, just like the place where we can store all the orders. So again, we have the list. We define this parameter as usually, and then we define the name of the variable as always. And for the iterator, we'll need to use current order. So as you know, when we look through the collection using the iterator, at each point, iterator has the position on the collection where it is staying now. Like we go next, and when we call the method next, then the position, the current index, is moved one step ahead. So for those iterators who have the option option previous, then the pointer just goes minus one to minus one position. So this is needed to control it, and then as it requested, we can implement the method has next. So usually here has next. So to check if it has next, the way is quite simple. We basically, we won't have the next if the current position is greater or the same, or greater or equals to the size of the collection. That's why first we really need to check if current order is this one. I'll use this. If this current order is less than the size of the orders. If it's less, then we return true, of course. But there may be such case when the size of the collection is 0, and that's why in this case it won't normally work. So we should firstly check that the size is greater than 0, and of course the size of the collection is greater than current position. That's for return false, of course. Return. Right, so this is about has next, and then according to the task we should also implement next method. So this basically means that so first of all we need to check if we actually have next. So if this has next, then we can actually implement the current order position. So we go to the next position, and we say that we go to the next position, and so then we can just basically return them, return the current, that will be the current order from the iterator, from the orders. And so basically we use the list, we provide index at which we want to read the current element. Otherwise we need to throw the exception. Throw no such element exception. This is what we should normally do. This is not. This is the exception of which is runtime exception. That's why the current method is not required to point that this throws the exception this way. So we don't need it here, because this is runtime exception, and that's why it won't be checked here. Alright, this is done, and then we can just go through the methods described here. So first of all, orders need to add the empty parameters. So constructor empty parameters means that orders to be just a new area list. We can do it from here as well, but at this point, is it is here we need to implement it here. So empty value is the same as for the current order, but for the current order, since we start at 0, normally then the current position, the initial position will be -1, and in fact in this case will not really be needed, because okay, in this case I think we can actually skip this, because we start at -1. That's why the size will always be greater, because the size cannot be less than 0. It's not possible. And that's why we can skip it. Okay, so the constructor is done, and then we go to the next methods. So we need to add method, which will add the item to the order. So that would be PowerPoint. So we usually add something to the object from outside the class. That's why such method will always be public. And here we just basically add the elements to the collection, to the list. Then we have the get items list, which will basically return us the items list, just get them. So I will call it get items list. So that will be a list. Get items list. And this will basically return the list of the orders. This is done. Go next to set, which will just basically work as the setter. So since this works as the setter, we do it this way. White, now returning parameter. So then we use some white. So then it will be set. So the name of the method is oh no, sorry, that will get item set. Or, yeah, sorry, not set, but they get item set. Sorry, yeah, that should be set order. Get items set. So in this case, need to transform the current collection to the order set, to the set. So it means that means that we need to transform our list into the orders, into the set of orders. So what we should do, what we basically can do. So first of course we need to define a set of orders as divided by elements. Okay, so here we start this order set, and basically we can use 3 sets since we implemented comparable interface. We can use it then. So then we can are there any specific rules here? Calculate the set orders from list. Okay, here we need to have it calculated. Can I convert orders to string? Okay, that should be the elements. That should be the strings. Okay. Elements. Yeah. So okay, let's. Yeah, of course we can use toString. So elements. We can actually try to set the collection here and return. I think there were some restrictions here, but let's see if something goes wrong. We can proceed in another way. But okay, so that's fine. Then we go to sort method. Just basically, it should return the sorted list of it should sort the collection. Yeah. So that's sort method, which will basically sort here, which will basically sort the current collection. We can use the method from the collection class that will be sort. So here we need to provide the list, and that will be the list of orders. And so this is just simple. We use collection static method, sort from the collections class, and then put the changes down. Right, so this is done. It has next and next. We already implemented them. And then remove the current order from the list. And you should also throw the illegal state exception if it can be done. So let's do it. So that will be remove. That comes from the Iterator class. That's why we can override it. And yeah, in case the current order is greater than 0, then of course we can remove it. Greater or equals than 0, otherwise if it's -1, then there is nothing to remove. Of course, then it means that we just remove the current element from the collection, from the list, and then we also need to decrement the current order position since we removed the current element. Else, just as it stays, we need to throw the exception, the illegal state exception. Illegal state exception, and that seems to be enough for this method. And the last one is toString. this shows list of orders as string. So here we can just basically use toString method. toString method for the order list. Okay. So let's check if something needs to be adjusted. Maybe yes, something. The method equals. Okay, the method equals, and the method. Okay, get item set. Yeah, we'll check it as I said. Okay, so the first one is with equals. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, sometimes there may be, so we need to check if we can actually cast the object here. So as you can see, we'll do the casting operation. Equals method. That's this class. So that's why I need to check if we are allowed to do it. So that's why. So if we cannot cast, if object is not instance of order, then of course we need to return false. Yeah. So otherwise, if we can cast, that will be else statement. Else we can just basically return what we have here. So let's check if this issue is gone. If this is done, then we can proceed with other issues. It's lagging a little bit. Okay, and then this one is done, and now we can. Then we have yeah, some issues here. Let's just go through them. So first of all, it shows that has next for empty list should return false, but was true. Okay, then we need to check what's wrong with has next. Okay, and then I think we should keep this this size, because that may be better if we keep the size, because that may represent this, but it's orders, of course. Because otherwise, this may trigger some unexpected situation again. So it's from practice perspective, it's always better to add some additional checks than just to keep the errors. So if we have more checks, then it's always better to be sure that our code will work correctly. Okay, and we just have the last final issue, and this is what I was thinking about as well. We cannot just simply return the collection. Because let's check. Okay, let's check what we have here. Oh, that's really interesting. So the item 1 has the customer 1. We have. Okay, so this step is fine. And okay, that's interesting. For customer 2. Okay, so in this case, it has, okay, item, okay, I got it. I got it because we have some, actually, more than one. Okay, yeah, I think I got it. That was incorrect because yeah, sorry, I missed this one. Needs to, I remember this one. Needs to actually return the set which joins all requests for the same item from different customers. So it means that this is what also we can see here, that what is expected for each item. We should join all the customers. Here, like we have order number, then we have different orders with the same number, with the same name, and then it can have multiple customers there. Multiple orders, and each of them has its own customer. So at the end, we need to get all of them and count all the counts. So we can then do it, and let's do that. So I will keep the first one, I will keep these two ones, but here needs to do it differently. So how can we do it? First of all, what I want to do is to define the previous order. Yes, this is what we will need, and I will also sort the collection. So basically, as I said about binary search, this is quite similar, because there are lots of tricks, but the method and approaches in programming where when the sorted collections are needed. Basically, it means that for example, to delete or to join some similar entities, like in this case, if we have the list sorted in alphabetical order, then it's easier, of course, to join the items which have, let's say, the same prefix or even more the same names. If it's sorted, then it's easier to count them, it's easier to join them, and so on. Because otherwise, let's say that we can have the simple, I think we did it in the previous course, but the simple example when, I can explain this simple example here. So that will be under additional, this one. Let me go back. So that would be, say, example count items. So let's say that we have method. Let's say that we have that can be the array or the collection. Doesn't matter. Let's say that will be the list. The array list, that will be, and let's say that it has the pairs of the elements. So how this will work? We can define the object, which will have so that will be the mapping between two elements. So let's say that would be basically say the item or the box. Let's say box, and this will have the ID of the box, or the name of the box. So let me string first. String and say integer count of items. Then we can simply generate getters and setters. So basically, let's say that usually when you talk about histogram, that may be something similar. So let's say that we have the boxes with unique markers, we can say names, the markers, and each of them has the items. So basically at the end I want to create the histogram which will represent it. So this means that what will I do? I will, and of course we can implement comparable. And it's comparable. So I just want to compare two boxes. So first of all, if I'll proceed in a similar way, I proceed there under the orders class. So I want to compare it to another box, and it basically means that again I will use the result. Initialize it with 0, and basically I will do it in a way that, of course, it's better approach to always keep the attributes at the top. So then, if the names of the boxes are different, then I return the one which has the bigger name, of course. So that will be this name compared to the name from the object. So if result is greater than 0, or basically not equal 0, then we need to compare the number of the items. So it will be count items, and this will be count items as well. So basically, if this one has more items than the one we are comparing to, then the result will be positive. Otherwise, if it will be negative. I'm sorry. I use just this because in different languages such not equals can also be difficult, of course. I'm switching between the languages, and in some languages need to use not equals this way. In some languages it works this way. But of course, just switching between languages. Okay, so if result is such, and then of course if result is greater than 1, then is greater than 0, then we return 1. And else, if result is less than 0, we return -1. Else, return 0. That's the same as we had there, and right now we can build this histogram. So this will be the histogram of the boxes, the list of the boxes. So that will be all boxes in the area list, and here I will add some boxes to the collection. So that would be, I have new boxes there, new box, and let's maybe use the constructor here. So that would be name and count of items. So then just simply use the parameters constructor here. So then I can just basically write names here. So let's say that this will be box 3, and we say that count is 45 or something like that. Then we just basically add more such boxes. So let's say that's box 1, something like this. Then we can add box 3 again. That will have something like 13. Then we can move another box here. another item. Let's add 4 items here. Something like this, and let's say something like this. So in this case, what's the task for us? Okay, no, it's not. Let me do it. So let's say that we want to build a histogram of these boxes. So basically, I want to find out how much items belong to each box here. Yeah, so what are the ways we can do it? So of course we can just basically take one, then check all the items there, just basically count them, then we go to the next one. We can check if the next one is not it's not counted yet. Then if it's not counted, then we can just basically repeat the operation for this one, then the same for next one, and for all the items in the collection. But of course this is not the efficient way, and this is basically why the sorting is needed. And this is direct representation of how to think about when you have the collection or the table. It doesn't matter. So let's say that you have the loop. First of all, let's say that you have the it can be collection, it can be the table. It doesn't matter at this point. Collection or the table with let's say lots of elements. It can be hundreds or even thousands of elements. So you need to look through all these hundreds of elements of this table. And for each element of the loop, you need to read the same table or the same collection, doesn't matter, with the key or with any parameter. Like imagine you do it 100 times for each element. And so the question is, again, in this case, we actually read the same table. We are searching using the same not parameters but the same approaches, like hundreds times. And at the end, you may understand that we should find efficient ways, because we have the read inside the loop, and of course that may not be so efficient. We need to find a way how we improve it, because basically, again, it means that if we can just have a simple read, then we just, in worst case, we will go through all the elements. So the time complexity will be number of the elements of the loop. So let's say that we are going through 100 elements, and then we have the table with 1,000 of the elements. So the time complexity will be big O from 100 times 1,000. In this case, of course, time complexity is significant. So again, need to be improved some way. And the way we can improve it, so we do the sorting once. So basically, first we sort all the elements in the table where we want to read inside the loop, and then we go through. We use the loop. For each element, we actually read the sorted collection. And if we read the sorted collection, as I said, we can use binary search, so-called binary search, which basically divides the table into two parts. And then using the binary search, it improves the performance. And same is here. Something not the same, but something similar is here as well. To build a histogram, we just can sort this list of boxes. Of course, we can sort, but we are not interested in the count when we sort. But in general way, in theory, we can skip this part. We're not really interested in. But for our purpose, the idea is that at the end we should have the list of where we have a first box, all the boxes with the name box 1. then all the boxes with the name box 2, and then all the boxes with the name box 3. And after that we can actually go through all the elements and just do the scouting again. So let's do it. Let's do it, and this will maybe significant improvement on the performance, especially maybe in this case this will not give a significant improvement, but when we work with the set thousands of entries, this may be quite significant. So then we sort this collection, and after that we will be sure that all boxes will be sorted correctly. And basically is that we can use the iterator to create a histogram. I'll use map structure. So that will be map. We map box name that will be string with the count that will be integer. Put our name histogram. This will be new tree map. And then we will go through all the entries. So at this point we'll go through all the entries of the box. This is the iterator, as I always do, and I will get the iterator from the list of boxes. So, and as usually we go through while iterator has next. You can just basically get next, get current, that can be, so see the current box. So that we iterator next. And so we need to start with, we need to keep the current name, because again the name will be the same for several items. So that I will start with the current name, and basically we can define it, we will need to define it here, of course. So that will be the string current name, and we can start with null or just empty string. So then we can just basically check. In this case we can actually use equals. Equals because we just hard coded it here. So that's why if we hard code this way and we are sure that the value will not be just changed in this way, like plus one and then just plus any symbol and then reduce it, then we can use equals, because the reference will be the same. We will not change the reference. Okay, so if that's empty, then we can say that the current box is that the current name equals the current box name. Get name. And we can also say that basically, in this case we can do it even smaller. We basically are interested that the current name does not equals to the name in the current box. So that will be get name. So just say that if not, then we actually change the name. And we should also change the counter to 0. So we say that the counter is 0, because we start counting for the next item. And now we'll just basically increment counter, or not increment, but I will add the value from the current box to the counter, and then go next. So Here's the issue. Here. Oh, yeah, it's not initialized. Okay, we're sure that it should be initialized. Okay, never mind. So this is done. And the last and another step here is, so if current name is not equal, in this case we need to use it. If it's not empty, then it means that we already gone through at least one of the items here, and we can add it to the histogram. So we put it into the histogram. So the value will be current name, and the name is current. The key is current name, and the value is counter. And yeah, and we should implement all these items here. Then we can print the histogram. So then I will use the iterator the entry of, so for the maps we can use iterator using the entries. So then there is the string and there is the integer. So here we can iterate it, but I don't like to name the variables like variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, because at the end that may be a little bit confusing. That's why I will say iterator histogram. And this should come from the histogram. So yeah, first I think the entry set and then iterator. So then just the same way. While iterator histogram is next. We just basically we need to print the result. So that can be entry, the entry for string and counter, which is the current entry, and we can print it out. System out .1. So then the name. So that will be the key. And we can just add the arrow here. And we should have get value. Okay, so let's see what we have. And the result. Okay, yeah, something is missed here. And okay, what's missed? Oh, of course. Here's the issue. I need to initialize the counter after we use it. And of course, yeah, I need to initialize it only after that. Because first we need to put the entries and then we need to initialize them. Yeah, that's of course should be done this way. So then we run and we see that the first one is skipped for some reason. The first one is skipped. So let's check that again. So if the current name. Oh yeah, of course it will be skipped because after the loop it should be done as well. That's a quite common issue for me. At least I usually forget the last entry. I forget the last entry because that's we forget the last entry, so we should not forget it. We should not forget it. So that means that for the last entry we should usually keep it here. Let's check it out. Yeah. So now we have all the entries here. Yeah, so it's 93, 77, and 61. Quickly check it, get 2 items. Yeah, that is correct. So basically this is how we should how we can work with the sorting in such cases. It's can be quite powerful feature. So, and here we just basically need to implement the same thing. We need to implement the same thing so we can do it. So first of all, I need to sort. Then I can use the iterator. I can use the iterator and I go through all the orders. So that's the iterator, and I can basically use the current. No, it's just iterator from the collection. So I go through all the elements there. So okay, that's next, and yeah, before I start, I need to get the current order, the previous order, right? It's no. So that would be previous order name. So that would be. Now I can just basically do the same string order name, the same as we did there. So approach here will be the same. So I'll start with 0, or not with 0, but with empty value, and then I go through all the elements there. So basically I can just copy paste somewhere from what I just written, and just change the content a little bit. So basically I will simply reuse this logic a little bit here. So display okay, so we have counter for each, and just instead of current box we will use current order. So if and yeah, the current name will be the order name, so I will also adjust this part. So that would be the name and yeah, of course current order name. If it's not name, but in this case that would be order, and yeah, got the name. Yeah, and if name not equals order name not equals to empty, then we actually put not to the histogram, but we put it to the set. And we actually need to put the order to the set. So in this case we need to add a new order. And there we provide the customer name. Yeah, we provide a customer name. Let me quickly check it. Yeah, the customer name, that will be the current one. Yeah, in this case, oh no, we just need to concatenate them. Yeah, we need to concatenate all the customers. So in this case, I will also use the string builder. String builder, because we need to concatenate all the customers, as I previously said. That will be all customers string. This will be new string builder, and we build it, and we start with empty, or start with this one. So that will be all customer strings. And that will be toString, nothing should it. And the item name would be the order name. So that will be order name. And the count will be the counter we have. So that's in the case we are finished with the current tool. And then we switch to the new order name, so that will be the current one from the current order. Current order name, and the counter is initialized. So otherwise we need to add the counter from the current order. And we need to build the string of the customers. So since we need to build the string of the customers, as I said, we'll use string builder. And yeah, one more thing, we need to initialize the string builder. That's one more thing. Because again, the string will contain all the customers, string builder will contain all the customers, and we just need to initialize it. That's why we can simply initialize it. So we can initialize it, and then move ahead. So and at the end, yeah, we need to add new element to this string, because we actually have new customer. Let me think. Yeah, that should be correct. So then add a new customer, and the customer should come from the current order. Okay, let's see what do we have now. Maybe something is still running, but we will see how our string looks like. Maybe and yeah, okay, something is still wrong. Of course, the same issue I just had. I'm sorry. I said I usually, that's the quite familiar issue for me, that I usually forget to add the last item, of course. So we can just implement the same we had here. So that will be just this one. It's not a common mistake for me, or a usual mistake for me. Okay, so let's show it now. Okay, still something is wrong. And where's the issue? Okay, the issue is comma. Okay, but that's a simple issue. We can easily fix it. We can easily fix it. Okay. Yeah, so we can say that let me think. So if so to add comma, we need to check if the string. So if string not equals to just empty string, then we can add the comma before the next item. Comma. Okay, let's check now. Whoop, no, that's incorrect, of course. It won't compile. First, it won't be compiled. Okay, let's see what else. Why it had it? That's interesting because it shouldn't. Let's maybe do it this way. Let's do it this way, and see, we should not add the comma when we have empty string there. But it added it for some reason. And I'm very confused why it's added it. Not added it. Maybe let's try to do the following way. Maybe this will help. Because again, we should not enter the empty string for. We should not append the comma for empty string. So that's what we want to achieve here. Okay, and now everything's fine then. So yeah, it's safe if we want to compare the string build, then it's better to convert it to string, and then we can compare it to the string. Okay, do you have any questions about this task? So is there are there any clear details? Okay, any clear approaches? No? Okay, then we can have the break now, and after the break we'll continue. Okay, let's continue. So we are done with this exercise, and then we can complete Extra06, holiday, and regular expressions. So first of all, regarding the regular expressions, as you remember, we need to that's basically the pattern. These are the patterns. Oh, I'm sorry, that's holiday. Sorry, welcome from holiday. We start with holiday. So in holidays we start with enums, and basically enums. These are just the sets of the constants. Like in this case, we have the constants: New Year, Woman Day, Children's Birthday, Fool's Day, Word End, and so on. In this case, we just have 5 constants, and they all have the coordinates. The coordinates required this way. So basically, in this case, that would be month and day. So basically, they represent the month and day. So we just need to implement what is asked here. So first of all, need to use need to implement the constructor. I'm trying constructor, so I assign a month and I assign day to the variables here. Right, so then I need to get nearest holiday, and this will and here I actually need to. There are several options there, but I can just basically use the full check here. So then let's check. So let's check. I get current day and the current month. So basically, I can see that this order is ordered. So what can I do? I can basically get enums of holidays, and I can get the values for them. And basically, actually I know the values. So there are different options. Let me think. So I can basically split into since I know the number of the months, and so that's why I can just simply split it into and implement binary search as I want. So basically, what does it mean? If current month is greater than 6, then moment, I think. Let me think. Yeah, okay, so if it's greater than 6, then first of all I need to check the date. So if so we have if the month is 6, then the only way that word end will be the nearest date is then it should be so then it should be the month. It should be more than 9. so not more than 9, so we have 1st of April, and let's say that that's 1st of June, so we have 2 months. We have 2 months in between them, so it means that it should be the 10th of, or not the 10th, but 21st, or actually we can use the calculator of the days. So days, I'll go to Google and I'll just simply calculate days between days. So, so first I need to check how many days there are between them. The June 1st, June 1st, like 2000, I'll do this here, and the 1st of April. Because I just want to find out how many, so at which no, 1 moment, no, maybe let's just skip this way, and this will go through all the months. So if the current month is, if we are in January, then so if today is 1st of January, then we the return holiday is New Year's Day. Else if, yeah, we can use if, we can use else if, oh no, so in this case, oh yeah, of course that's New Year's Day. Moments. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, I just thought of it. I was confused. Yeah, of course. If the current month is greater than 4, it's greater than 4, then we can just say the nearest is worse than, of course. So then we can say the nearest is, let's end, and that will be holiday or end. Else, so we can just basically change the months. So if oh, 1 moment, and it's less, of course, yeah, and it's less than, it's and current month is less than 12, and so less or equal than 12, and no, let's say just less than 12. Or here we can also say, or the current month is December. So we have a double condition here if we are in December, and and the current day is less than 22, then the nearest holiday is where then. Yeah, otherwise we may check these holidays. So else if we are in December and current day is greater than 31st, then the next one is the New Year's Day. Yeah, so else if until we can start with the first month. The current month is 1. Yeah, the current month is 1 and the day is 1, then we can say that this is New Year. So this means that we can actually add this condition as or here. So we can skip this one. Yes, so the current month, if we are choosing 1st of January, then that's New Year. Else if we are on the first month, if current month is 1 and day is greater than 1, that means that the nearest celebration is Woman Day, or basically we can say that there's an or case, then the current month is 2. Because we don't have any celebration, any holiday in February, that's why we can say, or we can add another case until the Woman's Day, so it means that current month is March and current day is less than 9, then we can simply return the whole day, and the whole day is Woman Day. Yeah, so else if we are if we're still in March and the current day is less than 11, and basically current day is greater than 9 or greater than 8. So we need to check all the conditions here, and this will say that this is Chuck Norris holiday. Chuck Norris birthday. And yeah, the last one is Fool's Day. So since this is Fool's Day, then it should be, basically we can use else condition or in moment. Yeah, so here is one more thing. Yeah, we don't need actually this condition because moments. No, we need this condition. This we can actually say it's greater than 3, but then we can add another condition that current day is and current month not equals no, let's say this one, or no, sorry, let's just keep as it was at the beginning and then add another condition here at the beginning. So that would be if current month is April, and the day is greater than 1, and then we can add the condition. So that would be for the Fool's Day, and well, that for the War's End, and then we can actually check if we can add else. I think we do not have any remaining conditions here, so that's why the nearest holiday should be Fool's Day. Alright, so let's check if something is wrong. Maybe something is wrong. Let's see. No, everything's fine. And so basically, just need to go through all cases and check how it to be sure that all the cases are defined correctly. And the last thing about activities is regular expressions. So let's do the regular expressions. As you remember, this is pattern which we can look to match if to check if the string matches the pattern or not. So first I need to start with the lucky number. So the lucky number is with digits sum equal to 25. So basically we need to remove all non-digits from the input and then count the sum of all the numbers. So first we need to define a pattern as the object. We can do it. The pattern from Java regular expression from Java utility regular expression class. So that will be pattern. Then we compile it from regex, regular expressions. So we can compile it from there. And using this one we can actually remove all non-digits. So that's the pattern. Then we can use matcher, and from the pattern we can actually so we constructed the object pattern, and then we can pass the input which will be used by the pattern. Alright, so this is done here, and now we can find the sum of all the integers there, all digits there. So we can use such iterator, called mFind or matcher find. So this will actually find all the matches, and we can create the sum here. From the integer, we parse integer. This here will have the string, and from the matcher we will get the group, and this will be the index, and the index will be 1. So this is how we can actually get all the elements from there, and then we can actually check if sum equals 25. Then we return true, otherwise we return false. Yeah, this one is done. Okay, this one is done, and this is about lucky number. So the next one is find Kenny. So it finds Kenny or Kelly hiding in this list. So basically we need to check if Kenny or Kelly can be written with up to a number of n's or else starting with 2. So let's do it. Again, I will define the pattern. So we will use the pattern object, which we will use to compile the pattern. So in this case the pattern will be ENN plus. Yeah, so if we use plus, it means that instead of plus there may be something else. Yeah, this is how it works with regular expressions. So So this is here, and then we do the same for the matcher. So that is construct returned, and we use matcher. We provide input there, and then we check if return is found. So we are searching for return. So if it's found, then we return the start of the return. So that we matcher start. So it means that we return the start of the return found. We basically return it. Otherwise, return -1. That's the default value. Alright, the last one is telephone number. This is not. The last one is telephone number. So here we just basically need to check the telephone number we have in Latvia. So it means that it should start start with 6, 7 or 6, 6. Before adding we should mandatory use +371. So I need to check this return. So let's check. So basically means we can just use matcher. Instead of return we can use simply matches. And here we need to pass the regular expression. So we'll need to use escape character for class. So that would be class. Then then it should be +371. So that's moment. Yes, I'll use this way, but then I will provide what should be provided next. So that's +371, and then we can use question mark after that. So and then we can check it. So we have 6, and okay, maybe in this case, let's check if it's not needed. Then we have 6. 6 should always be here. And then it can be 7 or 6. So in this case again we use the brackets, and we use this such kind of or statement that it's 6 or 7 next. And after that we can have 6 digits, so we can do it this way. So this /d means digits, and for digits it means that we should have 6 digits. So here I provide how many digits should be here. Basically, yeah. So this one, what I used before, means that in some cases we can skip class, because sometimes people skip class. For our case, that's maybe not the problem. And so then okay. Oh yeah, it's not obligate prefix. Yeah, so it means not obligate prefix. Yeah, that's why of course we need to use this pattern. It actually means it can be repeated once or 0 times. Yeah, just read this. Yeah. Okay, and else so in this case we return true. Else we return false. Return does not matches. Let's check. Okay, it works correctly. So again, here I use the plus, so it should mandatory be here. Then I check, then I provide how many times this can be repeated, so it should be 371, 0 times and 1 time. And then after that I have the next session, so it should be 6, then it can be 6 or 7, and then there will be 6 digits after that. Alright, so that is done. Do you have any questions about it? The regular expressions? No, okay. Then we can move on. And we will move on with some Bootstrap examples. So let me open the window. 1 moment, I will. Okay. I'll open Visual Studio Code. I will open it, and now we will take a look at some Bootstrap options. So that's inside the folder. So I will use the same folder we used during the previous session. So that's code examples, source, HTML examples. Oh, no, sorry, yeah. HTML examples. This folder. And here we have the Bootstrap. Alright, so basically we will start with the navigation bar. So as an option, we will use navigation bar. Is this quite common way in all the HTML files. So let's say, I will demonstrate Bootstrap options. So that will mean Bootstrap. So I will reuse, I will just use the same template we have here for the header. Oh, no, sorry, we got to use this for the Bootstrap. Okay, this one. Then I will just simply copy and paste the code from here. Close button. Of course, I will zoom in so you can see it. And oh no, just go back. We will read it, and right now we can proceed with the this is not for me. And now we can proceed with the navigation bar. So navigation bar is one of the main things you may have in on a website. Okay, I will not continue at this point. Navigation bars can be defined using NAV section. As always, down under this one, we can actually place the icons. So first of all, if we just define simple NAV, then it won't produce anything good from Bootstrap options. So we can use the class NAV, and then we can use navigation bar. This is navigation bar. We will use default. In Bootstrap you can actually, navigation bar. And in Bootstrap you will actually see such basically lots of such classes. Like for the buttons, you may have lots of different styles for them, and usually it's done in the way that first you provide the name of what should be displayed, and then how it should look like. Specific, that will be the default style. And then we can use the container. Then use it inside it. And so here I will find, I will place several elements there. So this to be done. So I have container here. I'm not here, but I will add, let's say, 2 elements. So that will be the first page, let's say home page, and the second page. So I will start with the ID, and let me think. So that would be class navigation bar. That should be the header. So that's position target header. And we use A. So that would be the element of the navigation bar. The navbar brand, and the reference would be, so first that would be for the current one. So we use just navigation to the current, and that would be, say, home page. That would be home page. And same can be done for the next item. So that would be, say, second page. Alright, let's see what do we have and the result. Let me open the HTML file. So that would be the workspace. Go to my name. Oh no, let's go examples first. Go examples, source, HTML examples, and this is example bootstrap. This one, and this is how it looks like. I have 2 pages. They don't have the references now, but so this is how it looks like. I can navigate through the pages. To navigate to the second page, maybe first let's simply create some, maybe let's create the second page right now. So let's then create this page here. The second page, not in the second page HTML. And then I will simply repeat it. And so this will be, so then here I'll provide the home page. Here I'll provide the current, and on the opposite way I'll do here. So I'll provide a link to the second page. So this will be this way. So you can see that we can navigate. Everything works stable. Everything is on the same position. Everything is moved. And it is fine in this case. Also, there is the class active. So one more time, just quickly start back. So active. We should provide the actually provide the state elements. So, oh yeah, of course, active. We should just simply press active. Let's check if it works correctly. Okay, yeah, it doesn't. Oh no, of course, there should be navigation item. Let's still change it to navigation item. Oh yeah, that's of course that's not for number. Sorry. Let's just let me think. Oh no, that should be here, of course. And it would be, let's try it this way. Okay, still, but yeah, that's because it is for a header. Maybe we can skip this header at this point. It's not so important for us. And the container actually is also not so important, so we can actually skip it at this point. There are different ways how we can construct your page, but in this case we can actually check it this way, and let's say it might be not number, but should check navlink. So in this case that would be navigation link. So that would be another option. Just simply name that this will be NIV. Let's see what we have now. Okay, yeah, nothing. Okay, no, maybe let's just keep as it was. Keep as it was, and we can actually play around here. We can add the classes to the elements, so that would be very active. No, it doesn't work. What we can do? What we can do, there are different options. As I said, one of the options would be that we go to the CSS Bootstrap class and just check it from there. So as an option, as I said, so since this is the file, we can check what are the options we have there. So that's Bootstrap min. We can actually get it. So counter space that we can, oh no, so that's minified. Let's not use minified, let's not change it. But what we can do, we can use something like this one. So let's check active. Oh, okay. That should be done. So according to this one moment, I will quickly check it by myself. And that's my example. I did before. Okay, yeah, so one moment. Yeah, this is what. Oh yeah, of course. We can actually add. Yeah, there's one way around how we can do it. The most simple way would be that we just add the background color for the button as an option. Or we can just simply. So that would be that. As an option would be that we just add the background button and that background color. That would be the most simple way. How we can how we can solve this issue. But yeah, of course, can be differently. So we can do it this way. Alright, so that's about navigation, so one of the options. What else? So let me quickly check it. Okay, it's still main. Yeah, so we can do it. Yeah, actually there are lots of options, but right now we will later check them, especially when we will work with the web applications, and then we will have more examples about this one. But what I want to actually go through today, and the key point what I want to go through today are the forms, HTML forms. And let's maybe do it right now. I'll try it right here inside this example. Yeah, because so I start with the container. It won't belong to navigation bar. So that will be container. And I will start with the form. And so that will be the form. So basically, from the perspective of the design, this will. The form means actually it provides nothing, but it groups the elements, and when we have like input elements with the values. So if we have the elements, HTML elements with the values, it can be checkbox, it can be an input value like the text or a number. And then, as I said, we can store these elements. And then just submit them and can transfer the data to a different page as well. But okay, I will show you. So we have the form, and let's just have a simple example that we have the input for name and surname. Input text. And I will provide the ID, and I will provide name in this case, because this is needed. It can be the same, but the name is needed in this case, and I'll show you why. So then we can provide a label for. In this case, we should provide the ID, and then the name is name. So the same would be for the surname, as an example. So in this case also need to change them. So then let's check, what do I have? Oh, sorry, that's the second page. Sorry, let's move it to the first page. Yeah, first it should be here. The first page. So right now we have this input, and maybe let's maybe move it to the more appropriate place. So then I will suggest to use so-called Jumbotron. So let's do it this way. So that's also one of the bootstrap elements, and Jumbotron. Jumbotron, and we can open it here, and this will be such oh sorry, such section where you can place the elements. So okay, it looks better. Now I want to also form it in a better way. So let's say that I can let's add heading, for example. So that would be, I would say, display form, and say enter your information. So let's again check how it looks like. So that's the heading for these fields, and let's maybe make it better, and I will just put them into the rows. So yeah, as I said last time, for Bootstrap we don't actually need to create the table to normally to make the formatted view, like table view. So when we divide the content by rows, so in this case we can place this way, it's better, but we can see that the elements are not aligned. So to align them, we can use the dividing by columns. So as you know, if we divide by columns, using Bootstrap we will have 12 sections there. So let's say that we can divide it into 2 parts. So that would be, first part will be with the size OSM, that would be 1. That's for the label, and then this will also be, then there will be 11, because in some there should be 12, and please remember elements. So the same 12 size here. The same here. Same here. Then you can see that it looks better now. Alright, and then let's add submit button. Let's add submit button. Also, we can add horizontal row. So that will look this way. So HR means horizontal row. So for the the horizontal row, and MI3 means the actual size. So moment. Okay. Yeah. So this will split 2 lines, and then we will add the bottom. So I'll add to a new row, and then I will add bottom here, and again for the Bootstrap we use styles on the bottom. So let's say there's the success button, then the type, yeah. So so first I'll define the button. The button name, and then I will explain what we can add there. So let's see that as submit data. Sorry, yeah. So by default we have 4, and you will see how this all looks like. And we have the button. We press submit, and you can see that what happens here. When we submit, we can actually see that the page is refreshed, and what we see next. Next we see that here we have these attributes added. The attributes are name and surname. Basically, if we enter something, that would be maybe name and surname, then we can see that the queries are added to URL. Again, if we have these queries, they will not affect the page, but they will send the information, some additional information about the page. And this is done when the button is submitted. Actually, we can also do it in the way that the button has different type. Like by default, if we are inside the form, then the type of the button is submit. We can say that the type of the button is button. Then sorry, that's the different one. Sorry. Then the button will do nothing. Okay, let's refresh the page. Then we can see if the type is button, then it will do nothing by default. Not by default, it will do nothing. And in such case, we can use onClick, and this will actually then we can create the JavaScript logic to handle the actions there. So yeah, by default the type is submit, and so maybe we can keep default, and yeah, so this is about the form. We have the parameters, and actually the first step is that you can see that we can add the parameters, and once we submit the data, sorry, we need to refresh, of course, because we changed the logic, then these parameters will be here. In addition, when we go to inspect element, we go to network, and we press submit the data. I will later explain what we can see here, but under the request, under the request we will see these elements. Maybe let's just make it easier. Without these, and you can see that from query string parameters. Then we will also talk about post, but yeah, this may be a little bit different in this case. So yeah, you can see that these parameters are written to the query. But let's say that we want to navigate to a different page using this form. So to do it, we need to provide the action attribute. So let's move to action, and here we can place the link where we want to navigate once the form is submitted. In this case, let's say that we navigate to the second page. Navigate to the second page. Yeah, so let's refresh the page. Close this one. Let's submit the data, and now it navigates us to another page. So, and actually, since we have the query parameters here, I can create, in this case, let's create JavaScript, which will actually read these parameters. So then we can do the following way. We can go to the second page, and we can create let's create container. So that will be container, same as we have here. Oh no, for some reason it should not be under the navigation bar. It should be after. And here I can create the heading and say hello, and then I'll provide name and surname. So first I can just use the pattern hello, and this will trigger such logic. You can see that just hello, but let's say that I want to add this name and surname here. So it will be I enter name and surname, and then will be hello, my name and surname. How we can do it? So first of all, for this, there are different ways how we can handle it. If we have a server, we'll talk about it, web server, we'll talk about it automated, but in this case we can use JavaScript. We can use JavaScript, and we should trigger JavaScript on the initialization of the document. So I will create the script here, and I will create the function, let's say on init, on initialization. And right here I can actually, using the code, I can get query parameters. So that will be query parameters and as params. And so I will create a new object, so the URL search parameters, and I will get them from the window. And after that I can assign these query parameters. So now you will be able to access name and surname from the previous page. So this would be that I get document. So now I can concatenate this element, and maybe let's do it in the way that so what do? I will provide the ID, and so this will be say hello. So then I can get element by ID. Let's say the ID is hello. And then I get inner text, and then it should be the concatenation of the. Well, actually, let's maybe do it this way. So we can skip hard coding hello here, but okay, let's see this way. We can skip hard coding hello here, and hello text, but we'll just simply add it here. So that would be here hello, and then we can concatenate the name. So that would be the name, we get from the query parameter. So then we get name, and then we can concatenate again, and then we can get surname. Go to the next one here. In addition, I need also to add the space. Add the space in between name and surname. So we should do this one. Okay, so this is the function to be triggered on the initialization, and so to do it, to actually trigger this function, it should be triggered on load. So we have the event on load, which will basically trigger, which will be triggered on the on load on the page. So let's check what do we have now. There's no need to refresh it. So I submit the data, and it cannot read my surname. Okay, maybe let's keep using Latin characters. check now, and you can see that using the query parameters, it provided us we can read the query parameters, and yeah, in this case we can see that since we navigate through the pages, we don't have these queries anymore, so the values are not saved anywhere. Yeah, that's why there is no in this case. But yeah, so this is done, and basically, yeah, that's how the forms looks like. I would like to pay your attention to the thing that here we used the name, not the ID for the form. ID, basically, in theory we can skip using the ID here, and you will see that this will work. I will not use the labels here. I will just read the IDs. Because for the forms, we will need to use the names, and this will work. It's all the same way. I don't have the IDs, but this actually works. And you can see that I did not use IDs. IDs are needed mostly for JavaScript. Yeah, for JavaScript, and to identify these fields on the web level. If we talk about the forms, then it should be we should use names then. Right. So that's about it. And yeah. So one more thing, to be honest, without the server. What's the method? Post. Actually, yeah, I will talk about what this means, method post. To be honest, that's normally done on the server. That's why in this case this is not really needed. The result, I think the result should be, yeah, okay, the result will not, the result will not work in this case, but the point I would like to pay your attention to is that here we have network. I submit data, and here I still have this form data. So at this point I received them. I did not receive them using the query parameter, but they're still here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I did not explain you what this means, but yeah, this will be the part of the next topic. This is the introduction to the next topic. Just want to pay attention that actually at this point, yeah, there's no, because we don't have these query parameters, but so we can see that this data is available, and that's because this is the post. So one moment, to be honest, I never used JavaScript to read post parameters, because this is needed for the backend. But yeah, I will introduce to the next topic. So one moment. So it will be JavaScript read post parameter, post data. Well, normally we don't do it. Post data. Yeah. Yeah, there's actually no way. Yeah, in addition, yeah, I never used them. There's no way to do it. Yeah. Of course, using JavaScript, we cannot read the post parameters. Yeah, so only if they're provided using the queries. Yeah, that makes sense, because this is used for server side. And usually we actually there may be the need that we provide the parameters using the queries. But maybe in this case we can keep as is. but then but yeah, normally we should use this logic on the server side. So only the queries. So we have the queries, query name and surname, and then the query will put these parameters. Okay, we did not have the second break, but for now it seems that it's too late for the second break, and that's why we need to not start the presentation about the web development right now, about the web applications. So currently I introduced you with the form because this is the main part, the major part for the web development, especially talking about the server side. And starting next time, we'll start working with web applications. Also during the weekend, I will prepare some materials about the server we will use. So I will do some setup so we can start working on it next week. From my point of view, this will be quite interesting. We will actually build kind of website. For this we'll use the server. We'll also have the connection to the database and all these things. Because I mean, currently, maybe before we finish today, the key thing was the difference between the actual website and actual applications what we have. At this point, we just have the files here. So we have the files, and in fact, there's such an interesting thing that our computer is not considered as the server, because to use computer as the server, we should have this HTTP request. In this case, we just access the files. So the files without the HTTP request, and that's why we cannot really consider our current development as the website, because we should normally have the server. But what the servers are and how they constructed and not constructed, maybe not so detailed, but how they can be used, how we can build the websites on them. So this is what we will talk about the next week. For today, I wish you all a nice evening and a nice weekend. And I'll see you all on Monday then. Thank you and bye.